Hello and welcome to the fourth event of Tour de Endurance in Season 2, the Boardwalk Blast. This is going to be a new event, and it's a team event in this season. We haven't seen this before. New challenge for all the competitors.
There are also some new teams up here, the expedition teams, who are going to show us how it's done in the events going forward. The Royal Blues and the Breakfast Readers. As you can see, multiples of 5 along the side of this boardwalk. Each line counts as a number, and the collective scores will move on to the next round.
So you can see the Royal Blues much more consistent run here, and that's going to be the key to do well in this team event.
Yeah, the fourth marble can really bring you down if you're not careful. As we head to the first round, Serpent Speeders and the Moneymakers. Onto the track they go.
And it looks like the Serpent Speeders have 3 up there, and 2 of them will get in front of the Moneymakers. But then I don't see one of the Serpent Speeders. That might be detrimental for them.
We're about to see what the distance is between them, and it's a 2 difference between that last Moneymaker and the last Serpent Speeder. That could be detrimental for the Serpent Speeders, but we're going to wait for the scores to come in. It's too hard to tell from this point.
Moneymakers consistency on their side, and by 1 point, they beat the Serpent Speeders and are moving on to the quarterfinals.
A very close round to start this out, as the Green Peacocks and Onion Union are going to go next. Oh, and a wonderful start for the Green Peacocks. Look at all the way ahead of the Onion Union, and just like that, they've beaten them. I don't think we even need to know what the score is here. They've absolutely thrashed the Onion Union in this round.
The Green Peacocks, they got out in front, and it's not about the speed, but then none of the Onion Union could even get by, and all 4 of the Green Peacocks ahead of the Onion Union.
That is beautiful teamwork. You love to see that in these events. And a 23-point win for the Green Peacocks. And they're above 100 points. That's going to be a mark tough to beat by these teams. Will Croissant Crew or Blue Brigade be able to pull it off?
Looks like much closer between these two, but all the Blue Brigade up in front, while 2 of the Croissant Crew are hanging back by a few boardwalks already. They cannot meet the Blue Brigade.
Yeah, one of those is well behind 20. I'd say it's like 17 or 16 almost. That's not a great run for the Croissant Crew. Have a look at the replay here. The Croissant Crew had that first one. You see that there was a little jolt, and that slowed the whole team down. If the first one messes up, everyone's going to slow down behind them. Being the leader is incredibly important here. And 105! They beat the Green Peacocks.
The Green Peacocks, it looked like that would have been one of the best runs, but the Blue Brigade have just bested it as we go to the Team Sunrise and the Silly Slimes. A lot of bumping here, but the Silly Slimes are going to get 1 out in front, so there's 2 others close behind.
Ooh, but it's a really close one. I think Team Sunrise have 1 that is 2 ahead, but Silly Slimes have 1 up there as well. This is going to be another very close one between these 2. The Team Sunrise, of course, the home team, so they've got a big crowd watching them here.
Both teams had 1 straggler, but the Silly Slime straggler was even further back against them because Team Sunrise, the home team, will be moving on by 1 point.
Now the Sweet and Sours and the Marauders. Sweet and Sours have had some good success so far. Marauders should be doing well based on their seeding, and they're doing much better here. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see only 2 Sweet and Sours in the frame. Okay, there's the third one. But Marauders looking better in this as of right now. Oh dear.
Marauders will find their Season 1 form, and it looks like this might be the event where they do it. But they've only got to the next round, it seems like. I think it's pretty clear to say they are moving on in this round.
I definitely agree. 1 Sweet and Sour is all the way back in the 15 spot, 10 points behind the Marauders, which is quite the gap in an event like this, as we move on to the Party Crashers and the Hell Clowns.
The Party Crashers are our championship leaders. We'll see how they do here. The Hell Clowns have 2, 3 up there, while the Party Crashers only have 2. Oh, there is the third one and the fourth one. So this is going to be very close, I think. One of the closest heats we've seen.
Oh yes, and I forgot to mention, if you finish, if you stop between 2 lines, the one you are closer to is the point that you count towards. So that Hell Clown right there is like mixing between the 2 right now, but I think he stopped further towards the one on the left, and that is the case. 92 to 91, very close between the Hell Clowns and the Party Crashers.
Yet another heat determined by just 1 point as we move on to the White Knights and the Grayscales.
Well, this is very close. There's very little difference here. Grayscales have 1 straggler, but they have more consistency in the front 3, while the White Knights are staying in a bit of a pack.
White Knights, all of them, 3 of them, just separated by 1 boardwalk. And the Grayscales, while they weren't as consistent, I think their runs was overall a bit better.
I'll have to wait for the scoring on this one, for I have no idea. And we're waiting, and it's a Tie! A tie. We're going to go to a tiebreaker, I think, unless if it's based off of... nope, we're going to a tiebreaker run.
And so these two evenly matched teams in this event, Grayscales though look like they're out in front, and the Grays think, yes they will be moving on.
Yeah, with two stragglers from the White Knights. They do have two that are ahead or tied with the others, but those two stragglers are going to absolutely drag them out of this, and the Grayscales should move on to the next round.
The Grayscales, that experience showing that they managed to pull ahead of the inexperienced White Knights in the tiebreaker, and they are moving on to the quarterfinals.
That's a clean 100 for the Grayscales as well. And if you look at their launch was perfect. There was no bumping. They just launched off straight away. And now we got the final heat, the Citrus Sprinters and the Steel Force.
Who will be the final team moving on to the quarterfinals? The Citrus Sprinters have one that is going to get out in front ahead of everyone, but they're dancing back and forth. Will they be counted as ahead of that Steel Force? It's going to be tough to tell.
I can't tell with this one. Citrus Sprinters are all over the place, but Steel Force had a very ugly opening. You saw that second marble like hop into the air. That was... I don't know how that happened, but they must have a bad bump against one of the Boardwalks, but they still managed to pull up into a pretty decent score, and the Steel Force win by a much bigger margin than I thought. 4 points, I thought that was going to be closer.
I think those two Steel Force adjacent to each other, compared to just one of the Citrus Sprinters on that same line, managed to make the difference.
And there you see the current standings. Onion Union, of course, lost by a massive margin to the Green Peacocks down there in last place. They've got to start doing better. And here are the Green Peacocks against one of our previous gold medalists, the Moneymakers.
The winner of this will go on to the semi-finals. The Moneymakers look like they're in a better position. The Green Peacocks trying to catch up, but I think it might be over for them.
I think I might agree. Moneymakers have 3 that are ahead or tied with all the Green Peacocks. Look at this, all the way up toward 30, in fact, for that one Moneymaker. I think Moneymakers have just cleaned their exit, not too many bumps. They went straight through and cleaned that one out with a nice win over the Green Peacocks in quarterfinal A.
So the Moneymakers, there's chance to get another medal in these games with a 7-point win over the Green Peacocks, who were looking very strong in the heats but couldn't do it in the quarterfinal.
Alright, on next quarterfinal, Blue Brigade and Team Sunrise. Team Sunrise have one that's fallen well back already. The Blue Brigade already are looking much more strong to win out this round. Team Sunrise just out of the gate. Immediate bumps. They are all over the place. Only one beyond 25. I think I know who I think is going to be winning this one, Raman.
Yeah, indeed. Only one of Team Sunrise, even close to that trifecta of the Blue Brigade. And so we know exactly who will be moving on. And to the disappointment of the crowd, Team Sunrise will bow out in the quarterfinals.
And to a massive margin, that's an 18-point loss to the Blue Brigade there. As we move on to the Marauders and the Hell Clowns. 2 teams that definitely need a better push in this event.
Only one can advance. Who will it be? It looks like Hell Clowns are going to get one furthest out of anyone, but the Marauders have 3. Back to the next Hell Clowns. The Marauders looking much more consistent.
Hell Clowns have a very wide spread. Only 2 above 20. One of them is even close to 25. I think, based on the Marauders, who are slightly more consistent, they're going to pull through on this one as well. But the Hell Clowns, all over the shot. Too much inconsistency. You've got to stay in a group and still remain, well, give decent scores. You can't just be all over the place with one decent scorer. But only a 3-point win for the Marauders.
So those back marbles actually really made the difference there, because if the Hellclowns were slightly better, they could have taken it down. Grayscales and the Steel Force, 2 great teams trying to battle for the last semi-final spot. The Steel Force will get out in front ahead of everyone else, but will they move on?
This is an absolute mesh of grey. I can't tell what's going on here. I think it looks like the Grayscales did slightly better, but I really just... It's very hard to tell. You see, there's like Grayscales on one half, Steel Force on the other. But we're going to have to wait for the scoring here, for I cannot tell what is going on. And it's another tie!
Another tie, and we are going to another tiebreaker round.
In both the Grayscales runs, they've been in a tie, but the first time they came out on top, this time Steel Force, much stronger competition, and they have one launching ahead, and it looks like they've done better this time round.
The Grayscales cannot mimic their consistency from their initial quarterfinal run, and I think the Steel Force should be moving on here.
Well, yeah, Grayscales have a couple well back there, straggling in the 20 zone, so Steel Force looking much more promising. But look at this. Grayscales had one go well off to the right, which is not momentum going forward, and he stopped right there because he could have gotten a good few more Boardwalks in him had he just gone straight ahead. And 95 to 88, Steel Force win over the Grayscales and move on to the semifinals.
So now we have the semi-final teams. 3 out of those 4 will medal. Green Peacocks bowing out in 5th place, then the defending champions in 6th. Team Sunrise, the hosts, in 7th, and the Hell Clowns in 8th.
Now, this is where we start talking about the medals. Moneymakers and the Blue Brigade onto the track for the first semi-final, and the Moneymakers, much stronger exit, and they will, it looks like they thrashed the Blue Brigade in terms of distance. I think Moneymakers will move on here, all beyond or equal to 25.
Yeah, look at that last Moneymaker, equal to the best Blue Brigade marbles. So that clearly shows that the Moneymakers have gotten the best of the Blue Brigade.
And that last straggling Blue Brigade, he could have done more, but he falls all the way back towards, I think it would look like about 17, which, yeah, that's a loss of 12 points for the Blue Brigade. Moneymakers looking for another gold with only 4 events in, which was going to help them catch those party crashes. Now, Marauders and Steel Force in the final semi-final.
It looks like Marauders have 1 out in front of the rest, but the Steel Force trying to keep that consistency, but they have 2 all the way in the back. Marauders looking much better here.
And the Marauders, yeah, those 3 toward the front of all the others around 25. I think the Marauders, look at the exit. Marauders, that back marble absolutely launched and gave the Steel Force a bit of a push, but that ruined their team momentum. And that was a very smart play by that back Marauder. It pushed it threw their game plan right off. And 5-point win for the Marauders. They move on to the final.
We've seen a lot of the back marbles struggle to keep up, but that last Marauder was not the case there. As we go to the 3rd place round, Blue Brigade and the Steel Force.
It looks like the Blue Brigade, again, that 4th straggler. He's probably lost the match. The Blue Brigade, though, they're shuffling. They're trying to get up as far as they can. All right in the middle. I wonder what timing and scoring are going to think of that one. But that final Blue Brigade, Steel Force are very close to them. That final Blue Brigade, I think, has just costed the team a podium in this event. Steel Force might take the bronze here.
Those 3 Blue Brigade marbles did really well up top, but you need all 4 of your marbles to perform, and that is not what happened for the Blue Brigade, and the Steel Force did not have that issue. And as a result, the Steel Force win bronze by 3 points.
And that is the first medal ever for the newcomers Steel Force. As we go to the Moneymakers and the Marauders. One successful new team and a successful old one. Who's going to win gold here?
One of the Marauders well in the back. 3 of them trying to make up for that deficit, but I think that might have been the costing factor for them, just like the Blue Brigade in the 3rd place round.
Yeah, the Moneymakers do have a couple back there, but look at this last Marauder. All the way back toward the early teens. That is not going to get you anywhere. That might be the worst single score we've seen so far today. The Moneymakers, just getting their 4+ there, have probably secured the gold for them in this event.
That back marble might be the deciding factor, and it is. Moneymakers get their 2nd gold of the season by 4 points. They beat the Marauders in the Boardwalk Blast.
However, I'm sure the Marauders are very happy to be back on the podium after a good long time struggling in the start of this event and start of this season. Steel Force, very happy to have their first medal in 3rd place. Well done to them.
So as we look at the standings after event 4, the Moneymakers have retaken the lead, and by a healthy margin, 15 points over the host team Sunrise and the former championship leaders, the Party Crashers. The next event will be the classic downhill drag.